It is common to think of the reptiles that once roamed the earth when considering particular periods in the prehistoric calendar. Castles, as their fearsome reputation allows them an entire landscape. Surely, as scary as the land killers were, the oceans held even deadlier beasts. There was a war in the prehistoric seas that saw the development of some of the most aggressive and fastest hunters to the present time. Dinosaurs may have reigned supreme as the apex predator on land, but there existed creatures in the water who were designed for another kind of warfare, in contrast to the slow-moving, heavy-bodied terrestrial hunters. The aquatic organisms hunted with quick, easy movements. They had been modified through evolution for existence in the water, and that gave them speed that was an upper hand against any land predators. The main distinct factor concerning the land predators and the sea stalkers was how fast and limber they were. Allosaurus and other land predators were fast enough by the standards of dinosaurs. However, they were nothing compared to the swiftness of the aquatic predators like Mosasaurus. Those marine reptiles were capable of swimming like how lasers cut through the water due to their torpedo-shaped bodies, which is something none of the land hunters does with the same speed running. Oceans having a three-dimensional structure created another risk. While terrestrial animals, a predator could attack an animal only at the front, back, or sides, and often within reach was some cover to crouch behind or climb. However, in the water, the attack can come from anywhere. Hence, aquatic, rather than shrinking from the danger, built up layers of sharper and sharper senses, which, as it turns out, were assets both in hunting and being hunted. Mosasaurus, known better as the sea T-Rex, was one of the topmost predators of the late Cretaceous period. This gigantic sea dinosaur reached more than 50 feet in length and gorgeously fed on anything and everything right in its way. It featured a double-hinged jaw that helped swallow prey whole, like one can imagine a snake eating. No doubt T-Rex was an apex predator able to walk confidently over land, but could not compare the versatility of T-Rex to the Z-T-Rex in the underwater world. Another beautiful marine predator of the past was the Dunkleosteus, a fish that was covered with armor and had powerful jaws that could crush a predator found on land. This fish existed in the Devonian period and had bite forces so strong they could crush everything, including the hardest of shells and bones without any effort. The technique employed in capturing her prey was ambush style, similar to how alligators hunt and wait for their prey, but with a frightening difference. It was possible to attack from any part of the ocean. The prehistoric seas were ruled by the megalodon, a shark that could reach a length of up to 60 feet. The bite of the megalodon was more powerful than that of any animal to have ever lived on land, and thus it rightfully earned the title of the most vicious predator-jawed. Unlike land predators such as the T-Rex, who had to contend with limitations due to their own size and the need to move about on land, the megalodon was free to be enormous and use that size and strength to terrorize the oceans. It was not just speed alone that enabled oceanic beings to come out on top. These predators also had an advantage over land-based predators due to the way they were able to manipulate themselves in water. Similar to that, ichthyosaurs were marine reptiles who resembled dolphins, but were capable of amazing speeds. Their body structure was adapted so that they could effortlessly swim with ease, making them deadly on the hunt. There is no dinosaur that could ever hope to be so fast and so fluid in motion like an ichthyosaur. The sheer size of the oceans increased its risks, danger. While, for example, an animal in the wild can be pursued, only to take refuge in a thick forest, a cave, or a hole, something similar to those options was impossible in water. It's not like one gets spotted in vast open skin of water, and say he would behave like there are all chances of escaping in the deep blue. The in-water hunters had the entire ocean range at their disposal, while the ones that did not dwell in water had limits set by the visible land. There was, however, another predatory monster that existed around the dinosaurs. The size of this marine reptile's head was impressive, as was its bite force. Unlike terrestrial hunters, who could only afford to attack prey that was smaller or of the same size, the pliosaurs boasted of far superior gnashers that could crush even the bulkiest of the water creatures. Another major aspect in which the land and oceanic environments differed was the threat of the ocean and its ever-changing nature. On the ground, for example, an animal may be off guard, but only at the most likely points of attack based on geography. In water, however, geography was not the only element to temper one's security. The movements of the enemy, the flow of water, and the varying quantities of water create more complex situations. Predators, such as the Kronosaurus, were also able to capitalize on these movement patterns of the ocean and attack in periods their prey had not anticipated. One of the most gigantic marine creatures ever lived, the Leedsichthys, was an extraordinarily large fish that could measure more than 15 meters. While it did not feed on any other living being, it was so big that it attracted even the most savage hunters of the sea. Mosasaurs and pliosaurs are known to have hunted such non-threatening creatures to show that no being was safe in the water regardless of its size. In contrast with the system of the ocean, the land ecosystems were much more certain. On land, prey animals had the ability to use the environment to defend themselves. They could go up trees, cover themselves with thick bushes, or even get underground to avoid being seen by the enemies. But in the ocean, the situation was different. There was nowhere to run. Certain predators, such as the Liopleurodon, were able to pursue their prey with little imposition of a physical barrier. They would simply have to dive to the depths of the ocean to capture their prey. The hierarchy of feeding that existed in oceans was also more intricate than on land. Most land habitats had few apex predators, but water bodies had many more and more formidable ones. Creatures such as enormous sea dinosaurs, fast fish, and even huge squids fought tooth and nail underwater. This fostered evolution and adaptation within shorter times, which enhanced the morphology and behavior of marine hunters through the ages. Certain marine hunters, such as infamous giant squids, were more strategic than muscular, aiming to outsmart their victims rather than crush them with their bulk. The squids would launch their limbs toward the victim and pull the victim below the surface, where it would be eaten. Aegea, moving about on land, meant some constraints as regards size and weight, but underwater, such limitations could be implored due to water buoyancy assistance. Strange, fighty manners of Helicoprion, there were many other strange creatures that had to be sea fighters, in addition to the incredible fighty manners of Helicoprion, who sported a jaw with spiral-edged teeth, which no other creature had seen in history. Its deadly spiral tooth was a great advancement over any locked bone of any beast and all other sea hunters. No land animal used the traits specifically designed for hunting, the way. What made the simplest of oceans even more complex was the presence of ammonite, a hard-shelled simple cephalopod who sought different means of defense. Unlike the speed or the camouflage adopted by the land animals, the ammonites developed complex shells and jet engines. This turned out to be a good strategy for defending themselves from aggressors. The sheer fact that they could change their shape and structure made it easy for them to dominate the marine ecosystem. To summarize, even with the dinosaurs reigning supreme on land, the ancient seas were inhabited by even deadlier life forms. The fastest, the most erratic, and the most numerous marine predators made it more difficult to exist in the ocean than on the land. In the case of ocean-dwelling animals, there were such creatures as the gigantic Mosasaurus and the nimble, crafty squid who were engineered for speed and destruction in a way that no land animal could provide. And this has been our exploration of the perils of the prehistoric oceans, or oceans as a whole. What do you think? Were the waters indeed scarier than the Earth's surface? Do share with us your thoughts in the comment section below. If the video was interesting, do make sure to give it a thumbs up and share with other history lovers. We will bring further interesting videos. So do click on the box labeled subscribe. Also, do not forget to ring the notification bell so that you get all updates. Thanks for watching this video, and see you again in the next one. Keep exploring, keep fit.